I don't think Madonna has had any innocence since she was about 5 years old.
I'm a dodo girl, and I'm looking for my dodo boy.
She was the most dedicated, disciplined person I'd ever met.
She's a great role model for young girls. Look what you can do if you work hard.
I'm everything.
Madonna has got this mission to unveil America's Puritanism and hypocrisy.
Madonna? It seems to be an age of mediocrity, and I think Madonna is way out there in front, leading us all.
She is probably one of the most talented women in this country today. The problem with Madonna, she just doesn't know where to stop.
I think she's got what she wants, but I think she wants more of it.
I am my own experiment. I am my own work of art.
Her mother was a beauty from Bay City, Michigan, with the unusual name of Madonna Fortin. Her father was an Italian-American named Silvio Ciccone. Following the birth of two boys, Anthony and Martin, Mrs. Ciccone delivered the daughter she had always wanted on August 16, 1958. She passed on her own first name to the child, who was called Madonna Louise Ciccone. The Ciccones were one of the few white families in this racially mixed Pontiac, Michigan neighborhood called Harrington Hills, where they lived in this small house. Little Nani, as her family called her, tended to be the center of attention, but she would soon have to compete for the spotlight, as in the early 1960s, 3 more children came along in rapid succession: Paula, Christopher, and Melanie. Madonna's brother Martin remembers his younger sister as a playful child who got into her fair share of trouble with him.
We got along great, you know. I mean, we argued. It was sibling rivalry. Anything from her telling on me when I snuck down to get a Faygo pop at the store, to me putting Vaseline in her hair when she was sleeping, you know, as the payback.
She was kind of a rambunctious, restless kid. She was the type that would always push the limits to any rules that were given to her.
There was a special bond between Madonna and her mother. Those who knew her described Mrs. Ciccone as a kind and gentle woman who rarely raised her voice to her children.
She was beautiful and very loving and devoted to her children, very children-oriented.
But in 1963, 5-year-old Nani's world was shattered when her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and died within a year at the age of 30. As she grew older, Madonna would try hard to fill her mother's shoes.
Madonna kind of assumed the maternal role for my other younger sisters, feeding them, making sure they were dressed, getting them ready for school.
I think that had a lot to do with me saying, well, you know, after I got over my heartache, saying, well, you know, I'm going to be really strong then, or if I can't have my mother, I'm going to take care of myself.
Madonna played her role as female head of the household until her father married the family's live-in housekeeper, Joan Gustafson, in 1966. Madonna still missed her mother and had a hard time adjusting to the new Mrs. Ciccone.
I interviewed Madonna in 1984, and she talked a lot about her stepmother and said that her stepmother liked to dress she and her sisters up in identical outfits. And Madonna just hated that, absolutely hated that. She said she would do anything for some sort of individuality, including wearing the clothes wrong, wearing them inside out, ripping something on them, anything to look different than her sisters.
For his part, Tony Ciccone made sure his large family stayed on track by adhering to the principles of regular attendance at church, hard work at school, and strong discipline at home.
I wouldn't call it strict. I'd call it conservative. But my father was always a stern believer in, you know, excelling towards leadership and maintaining a competitive edge, and be proud of yourself and pray, do good in school, and you will reap the rewards of your investment.
Despite all the rules, and perhaps because of them, Madonna's rebellious nature shone through.
She went to a strict Catholic school, and she was the first one always to rebel. She would go peek in the windows of the nuns' quarters to see them in their underwear, to see what they looked like without their habits, or see if they had any hair.
She was a good student, however, and always seemed to have an eye on the future.
The bitch never had to study, man. Never. Got straight A's. And I used to get up there and study all the time. But my mind wasn't on it. I did it because I was supposed to, and I didn't like it. She did it because she knew that it would get her over to the next phase.
Each of the Ciccone children studied classical music, but Madonna was more interested in the local Motown sound. Her idols were Diana Ross and the Supremes, Stevie Wonder, Ronnie Spector, and 50s sensation Frankie Lyman, in part because he had a hit single that he wrote at the tender age of 13. In 1969, Madonna's first taste of onstage notoriety came as a result of her bikini-clad talent show dance number, which imitated Goldie Hawn from the popular TV show Laugh-In. Her performance gained Madonna widespread attention at school and a 2-week grounding from her dad. In high school, Madonna joined in a variety of activities that would keep her in the public eye.
She was a cheerleader, believe it or not, and she also was involved in the theater department. That's where she first got on stage and got a taste of what applause was all about. She was always in the plays, always the center of attention at school, and this really kind of fueled her even further.
High school was also a time of discovery for Madonna, of the opposite sex.
She always had boyfriends. She used to, on the playground of the Catholic school as a child, love to hang upside down on the monkey bars so that all the boys could see her underwear. I mean, she loved that. The nuns just really chased her around, you know, constantly getting her to put her dress back down, basically.
In 10th grade, Madonna studied jazz dance, but soon outgrew the class. A friend brought her here to the second-floor studio of the Christopher Flynn Ballet School.
And that's where she really started expressing herself through dance, and this is where she got the idea she was going to become a famous dancer.
Madonna's enrollment in the Christopher Flynn School began what became several years of dance study, and while she never became a professional dancer, her friendship with Flynn allowed him to guide her onto the road toward her destiny. During her high school years, Madonna's dance teacher, Christopher Flynn, was tough on discipline and hard work. And while the 16-year-old may have rebelled against those principles at home, she now embraced them at the studio. Christopher Flynn soon became the most influential person in shaping Madonna's dream for the future.
Christopher, he was the first gay man that Madonna met, and he took her to the other side, quote-unquote, of Detroit, so the seedier side, into the nightclubs. And she danced the night away and was quite free-spirited and learned a lot in a short period of time.
After Madonna graduated from high school in 1976, Flynn became a dance professor at the University of Michigan and convinced his young protege to audition for a scholarship there. She did and got it. When choreographer Whitley Satrakian met Madonna in 1976, Whitley was in the market for a fourth roommate to share an apartment in downtown Ann Arbor.
I guess my immediate impression was one of a combination of fascination and intimidation. She was beautiful, articulate, very, very thin. Her hair had been chopped off in an odd way with little things sticking out on the sides. And she wore lots of heavy dark eyeliner and interesting clothes and baggy t-shirts and tight pants, and had a way of owning the room when she came in. And I'd never really met anyone quite like her.
The 17-year-old college freshman struck her roommate as someone who did everything to the fullest.
She was up in the morning, out the door, in class before everyone else, warming up. She dragged me out of bed. I couldn't quite keep up with her. We'd go out dancing at night on a Saturday night, stay out very late. She'd be up early in the studio to warm up if she had a rehearsal on Sunday morning. I never could understand that. She was not easy on herself. She lived hard and worked very hard.
Go ahead, Madonna.
Shown here in rare footage of a university dance recital, Madonna was a hard-working student, applying almost single-minded concentration to her dance courses. She soon found her way into Michigan dance professor Gay DeLange's technique class. DeLange remembers her as a standout from the beginning.
She had many qualities that young dancers desire. She was lean. She had a nice edge to her muscles. She was hungry, great appetite. She was sassy. She was kid-like. Chewed gum and lived on Brock's butterscotch candies. She definitely was disciplined, hardworking, a pleasure to be with. She was young, just a kid.
In college, Madonna worked off campus to make ends meet. In between jobs, Whitley says she survived by whatever means she could.
She taught me how to shoplift. One of us would make a diversion at the counter, and you'd place your dance bag slightly under the counter and then sort of lean casually on the counter, and then just at the height of the diversion you just sort of go like that, and then the fudge would be in your dance bag.
During her 3 semesters at Michigan, Madonna got good grades, but graduating soon became less important than launching her career.
She wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to go to New York and get in a good company.
On the urging of Christopher Flynn, Madonna took off for the Big Apple to seek her fortune, armed only with $37 and a dream.